Hey everybody, welcome to week 3. We're going to be looking at managing files and folders this week. So let's go over the module. We had some great discussion last week, by the way, in office hours on Tuesday, so thanks for that. We went over all different kinds of emails. A lot of you have AOL and Gmail, so we went over the different types of email and learned how to do CC, blind copy. We could work some more on signatures, uploading things, attachments, and groups. So this week we're going to be looking at managing files and folders. And so this is really important because this is how kind of we organize our whole computer. So basically for computer, I think of it because and we all grew up in the age of file folders, and it's kind of the same thing except for digital. So it's important to know how to make a folder and know where to keep it so that you can find it. And then knowing the file types of files that go in those folders. So the main types are, if you have a document, it's usually .x, which is a Microsoft format. .jpeg, JPG is an image, and .pdf is it can be an image, or it's usually a document that's a PDF, meaning it's a little bit different when you go to edit those types of files. There's a whole bunch of different types of other file types that we'll be going over here. On the Mac, that I'm a Mac user, you right click, and I'll show you that on my desktop shortly, to make a new folder, and then you name it. You can put any kinds of files in there, and then you need to decide where to save it. And then so Windows, I have a new folder. It's basically the same on both Mac and PC. And then organizing them, whether they're nested, and I'll show you what that looks like, copied, duplicated. Sometimes they're compressed, so I'll show you that as well. And then uploading files to Canvas. I'm going to show you that right inside of Canvas. We do have a discussion, so answer some of these questions. Have you ever created a folder? What kind of files? So what are your tricks on your organization, basically? How do you do your digital file cabinet? And we already have people on here participating, so that's fantastic. Okay, so first I'm going to show you on how to add files in Canvas. And it's great because we can look at different file types. So there's this row of tools, but there's a second row when you push these 3 dots of more tools. So we have links. These are, if you look at here, it tells you upload images. This one is upload media, like a YouTube video or some music. And then this is upload files, a document. And the other important one, which you're probably not going to use here, but this little cloud is called embed. And I use this mainly to embed YouTube videos that you see here in class. So we're going to concentrate on files. So let's go ahead and first we'll start with the image. So we click that image. So I'm going to upload an image. And I'm just going to drag one from my computer. And so I have this one that I'm making a game. So here's a little screenshot I took of that game. And when I hit submit, it ends up in Canvas. Now in Canvas, we have this, or I think you do too, the little alt tags. So I can say, if I click that, what is this? So this is going to be Rena's game. If it's just a decorative image, because we're adding something decorative, you can click that as well. Okay, so that's there. That was all there was to it. Now I can make it big or small just by dragging around in there. So that's good. Let's add another one. So that image is, let's see what file type that was. Hold on a second. I think it was a JPEG image. Yes, or PNG. So that was, I'll type that in here. This was a .png file. It really takes almost anything, so you don't have to worry too much about what file type, but that was a .png. If I did another image that was a JPEG, that's like a typical photograph. So I have that as well. So let me do image, upload image, and I have my headshot image that is a JPEG, renawalzinger.jpg. Submit that. So that's a JPEG image. And I'll just put Rena Walzinger. You don't have to put image of, you just put what the image is about if you're doing what's called alternative tags. And those are for people using screen readers. So as a teachers, we put tags to explain what these pictures are. So that was a .jpeg. Okay, another file type, the typical Word document. So this time I'm going to click the one that looks like a file, upload document. So I'm just going to drag a Word doc in here. Let me go find one in my documents folder. So I can drag anything. I have one that's called, that we did last semester about finance, and submit that. And it's going to come in as a little file, a link to a file, and there it is. So, and it's actually misspelled. I could actually, I think, go and change that. Yeah. So it comes in as a link, so because it's not a picture. And so that's how a doc file will come in. Same with an Excel file. So let's see if I can find an Excel file. I don't use that as much anymore, but let's upload. Whoops, not that. Click the wrong button. File, upload document. I'm going to look for an Excel file. So I'll look for that. Excel. Any Excel file. Okay, I found something. So whatever this is. Okay, and then submit, so just so you can see how it looks like. It should also be a link. So when you click that, the user that's seeing this will, when you click it, it'll download that into your downloads folder on your computer. So this file might be a little bit big. It's probably not a good idea. I think it's a giant spreadsheet. So we'll see the same link here in a minute. Let's look at some other things that you won't need. This is Canvas Studio. Yeah, I don't even think that probably shows up for you guys, but it's mainly these three things. While that's happening, I'll show you upload media. So I can drag a media file here, like a little movie or something. So I have a movie, in fact, the ones that I'm doing just now. And that'll bring that movie in. I might find a smaller Excel file. Let me undo this one. It's taking too long. So this is pretty big, and that will come in as a movie file. The other thing you can do, you can bring in like music, so you can drag in like an MP3 or a WAV file. So let me find one of those. I do have those on my computer for sure. Let me look up MP3. So if I take a little MP3 file, here's one. So it'll come in as a music file, and anybody could play that. Get down here. So there's my little music file that can be played. So the music file, a doc file. This one is the video that's taking a long time to come in. This is why I don't drag in video files. Typically, instead of that, let me undo that. What I'll do instead, oh, it did come in. The way I usually do this is I host everything on YouTube, and then I go to YouTube, and let me do that here. Go to YouTube. And I can do two things. I can share a YouTube and get this link, which is fine, or I can get the embed code, copy it, go back to Canvas, and I'll do it up here. I can click that little cloud and then paste the code in there. And again, you're probably not going to do this, so you can ignore this part if you want. But see, it just goes right in there, and anybody can watch it and see it. So that's files in Canvas. Okay, this next part is going to be how I make files. So I generally do is right click. There's another way to do it. So I'm on a Mac, and it's Control with my left hand and then click with my mouse or my trackpad, New Folder. I can also go in the Finder, File, New Folder, so Command N. And actually I don't want to do that. File, because that's New Folders there. So I can get back to this New Finder window. I don't want that either. So I'm going to do the right click that I do, New Folder. So let's name it something. So sometimes it doesn't want to rename when I click it, but I can right click and hit rename. Just put Emeritus folder. So whatever I want to call it. Now I can drag files in there, and that would be, so right now if I double click that folder, you can see the Emeritus folder is empty. I have it in column view. I can have it in list view. This is on my Mac. So there's nothing in this folder, Emeritus folder. So I can start dragging stuff in there that for this class, and then that'll be in that folder. So if I drag two things in, that's the list view or column view. Column view is good because I can see it's on my desktop. It's in this folder. It's actually backing up to the cloud, and there's my two files. So if I want to know where the folder is, that's good. Otherwise, I just use as list. There's also as icon. Some people like that. So you can usually view them how you want. So that is how I make a folder. But the other thing I wanted to show you is, and this is similar on different computers. So these are the choices where your folders can go in files. So you've got mine. Some of mine are like my applications. And it's not clicking for some reason. Huh. Strange. Okay, let's try that again. I don't know. It might be because, that's just how it's going to be. There's something on that's blocking it. But I have pictures, movies, downloads, desktop, documents, and those are the places where I put my files. Okay, so looks like when I turn on OBS, it gives me, there we go. So these are all my documents, and I even have, like, when I record on Zoom, it saves everything there. Things that are on my desktop, these are folders there. It's really probably not good to have very many things on your desktop because it takes computer power to read those that they're on, so you should try to minimize those. And I go back and do that every once in a while. This is my directory, so I actually have some projects in there. I have some music and some movies and my Dropbox. This is things that I'm coding, like making games, and then all of the applications. These are startup items that are part of my extensions in my Chrome. Pictures, I have a iPhotos library. These are movies that I'm making, saved there. Usually my downloads folder, I clear that out almost every day. Again, things are on my desktop. These are different music applications that I use, and I make a lot of music. And then just applications that I'm using. So all the normal stuff like Microsoft, and you can see all these things that I'm using. So how do I organize it? Basically, things I use a lot, I put in my desktop, which may not be a good idea, but that's what I do. I try to put a lot of things in documents. I have folders on my desktop that are named. So like the one we just made, applications I'm making, things from my job, things about music. So my desktop is a little cluttery. I can make it a little bit better if I highlight some things and then I hit View Cleanup Selection. It'll kind of straighten them out a little bit there. If I didn't like my stuff in my folder, I can empty the stuff out. And then I can delete that folder. So I'm going to right click, move to trash. So basically, if you're organized, you will have not too much clutter on your desktop. If you're like me, I have way too many folders, but I at least try to clean them up every once in a while. And then the big thing that I think is the hardest for me is just deleting things off of my computer. So files and folders will clog up your computer. I do have a couple backup drives that I get from Costco that are like 8 terabytes for, I think they're $100, and I back things up there. I back things up in the cloud. So, and the big problem for me is I make videos that are like 50 gigabytes, lots of them. And so those are the things that I need to get off my computer to make space. So that's files and folders. For all our questions and demos, we'll be doing that this Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Hope to see you there.